Hello and welcome back, all my Dragon Ball Theorists. The hype leading up to this chapter has been incredible as we have seen so many developments in this Galactic Patrol Arc. The chance to learn more about the Angels and the info on their origins with the introduction of a new one with Merus. Vegeta off training in a completely different way and attaining power this chapter that is, as Pybara says, leaps and bounds past where he was. Goku training in the Spirit Chamber to learn Ultra Instinct with Merus and the Angel laws that were almost broken. Moro, who continues to devour planets in order to reach his highest potential limits of his power, which he questions if he even has a limit. This chapter was a fun ride and we have a lot to cover, so let's get started with the ending of the last chapter where we left off on a cliffhanger, with Whis having a conversation with the Grand Priest in the regards to the Angel laws. So many stories and theories on what possibly could be the reason for an angel to be in Universe 7, and for the Grand Priest to be well aware of the Merus situation when Whis visited him. Is he a fallen angel, or Moro's previous angel, or something else? The theories were fun to write, but this chapter goes right into where the last chapter left off, confirming immediately an idea I did have for one of my videos, that indeed the Grand Priest sent Merus to Universe 7. The very first page with the title Chapter 55, Merus' True Identity, the Grand Priest explains, "I dispatched my trainee Angel Merus to Universe 7 so that he might learn about the way of things and broaden his perspective." In a conversation with Whis, his father really drives home the fact that angels must maintain their neutrality. We angels must always act impartially. Beyond that single law, there are no restrictions on what we can or cannot do. His enlisting in the Galactic Patrol seemed a decent choice, as it would allow him to observe the side of good and virtue, but alas, Whis questions that it seems he has gained a bias. The Grand Priest, who has carefully been watching the situation at the palace on the development of his trainee Merus, I enjoy that he is just standing there and without a staff, looking down and watching Goku and Merus train. He states that any further and he will be in violation of our code. We do get important dialogue here which confirms some ideas I've stated on how the angels function and live on a different plane of existence. This great beyond that they come from, which I feel is the best terminology of their origins instead of just saying angel homeworld. Since they are divine creatures, they exist and come from a plane completely different than the mortal one, which is why they are absolved from being erased as we know. The Grand Priest tells us he must end Merus' tenure in the mortal realm. Whis, as we know, does deeply care about how his universe is represented, as we saw in the last chapter, saying he was deeply ashamed for its current state. So Whis asks his father if he would allow him to collect Merus and deal with him on his own. After a quick discussion confirming that Merus didn't violate anything yet by training Goku, although he did come perilously close, Whis now has the blessing of his father to place Merus under his control and retrieve him. I do find that the Grand Priest's last message to Whis an interesting one. He warns Whis to keep a close eye on that one. Troublemaker or not, I do not wish to lose an angel. Which this statement confirms in a way that angels can develop their own behaviors and feelings about things, that if they aren't careful, they can end up choosing a side, whether it is good or evil. So it seems that Merus is a bit of a troublemaker, and the Grand Priest felt his tenure in this Galactic Patrol would help him understand mortals and be put in a situation to see both the good and bad side of the universe. He is in training to maybe one day become a guide of a god of destruction, and the current situation was a test that the Grand Priest set up for him in Universe 7. However, it looked like he failed. So it appears that the last message to Whis was that of a warning, and Merus tends to act out on his own if he feels the situation is warranted. This only makes me want to learn more on his backstory, and it seems that if Merus is to become a guide one day of a god of destruction in the mortal world, he has a lot to learn. More on that later, as the chapter now switches gears to Vegeta's spirit training on Yardrat with the Elder Pybara. An exhausted Vegeta looks up at Pybara. "Wonderful spirit power," the Elder states. "Your spirit is now more polished than Goku's and you managed it in no time." Vegeta says, of course, Kakarot and I are not cut from the same cloth. One thing I love is that even though Vegeta has gotten perhaps the most character development in the show, that they still keep his core pride and views on things the same. Vegeta will always work into the conversation somehow, still being a Saiyan warrior elite. Now it is time for Vegeta to learn a new ability since he has completed his spirit control training. Right before it starts, Pybara heals Vegeta instantly, demonstrating the extent of his abilities. Impressed, Vegeta asks if he can learn such a technique and is quickly reminded that this is an advanced ability. Curious, Vegeta wants to know what he can learn, and we find out that instant transmission is only the basics. It's a fundamental ability of all the Yardratians. However, this conversation is interrupted by a visit from Moro's army and one of the fighters that is the same race as Zarbon. Vegeta goes to intercept this intruder, but the Elder warns him that he has been in training and to be careful how he wields that power. Yuzan is confronted by Vegeta and says that this planet is brimming with life and intends to notify Moro, but not on Vegeta's watch. I love this panel of Vegeta who only intends to fire off a small blast to stop the call to Moro and ends up sending off a massive amount of power, incinerating him and the city beyond that. Fortunately, there was no life over there. A confused Vegeta asks what was that? Pybara informs him you just witnessed your own nascent or developing powers. Vegeta is shocked. Before your training here, your body and spirit were so off balance that you couldn't project your own power very well. Vegeta looking down at his hands, meaning, I have already grown stronger since I arrived? Pybara says you sure have, by leaps and bounds. It looks like, as I stated in my video on Vegeta and coming to Yardrat to get this spirit training really was the missing link in his progression. Vegeta has trained traditionally on only physical might and power, and his energy was so off balance that he couldn't maximize his power at all. Now this spirit control will really remove the limits Vegeta had in gaining more power. Perhaps this is why we always saw Jiren meditating as a way to harness his full potential power. Jiren was doing his own spirit training to keep a balance and to be able to channel his tremendous strength. Then Yuzan gives us the Zarbon transformation, but Vegeta has seen that move a long time ago and lets him know quickly he is still no match. Now completely angered, Yuzan strains and lifts an entire building to throw at Vegeta, but he calmly flicks the massive building out of the way with only one hand. This feat of strength is impressive, and it is clear that Vegeta is on a whole new level now, and his decision to come to Yardrat has paid off. After a quick exchange, Yuzan was defeated, and he told Vegeta that Moro is actually targeting Earth and not this planet. Vegeta then focuses on Earth and realizes it is safe for now, as his training has allowed him to sense energy even at the greatest distances now. However, being short on time, Vegeta gets to the point with Pybara. Instant transmission won't cut it. I need something capable of bringing Moro down. Pybara agrees with him that indeed there is no point at all unless he makes it in time. So Vegeta, with incredible new power from spirit training, embarks now on a mission of learning a technique that will defeat Moro. Even Moro senses and realizes that Vegeta has vastly improved. Excited about Vegeta's progress, Moro now plans to devour as many planets as possible to reach the outer limits of his power before traveling to Earth. Moro gloats and says, assuming I'm even constrained by such limits. This is where it looks like this chapter is setting up for the final battle, and we get a time jump of 2 months passing. During this time, Moro absorbed many planets, and Goku and Vegeta's training is now ending. This chapter had an exciting conclusion and left us with where we started on the topic of Merus, who is training Goku. With no time left, they were about to do battle, and Merus was going to use his full power as we start to see a halo emerge, and before he finishes powering up, instantly they are transported outside the time chamber and is confronted by Whis, who says, "That's quite enough." Merus mutters out, "But brother," and Goku being Goku is starting to put the pieces together. All I'm going to say is I hope in the future they don't continue to have Goku oblivious to these things, as he most certainly should have realized that Merus was an angel. Anyways, Whis says, "It's been ages, Merus." He now looks nervous and responds with, "So you caught wind of what I was up to?" Whis' response seems to be an interesting one and tells him that I am afraid there are no secrets among angels. Training is one thing, but Merus was about to use his angel powers against Goku, which is strictly forbidden. However, even more egregious was your plan to travel to Earth and do battle against Moro. So it does look like Merus was in fact a good guy, which, aligning with the side of good, is punishable by death. Angels who break our code are eradicated without a trace. Up until now, Goku states what we all knew, that angels can't die since they are from another plane of existence. Whis confirms that this is the only means by which an angel can be removed from existence. As we know, angels have never been erased by Zeno, as they are above it. However, this is that one situation where it looks like they would be punished, but my question is, by whom? With this dialogue and the way Whis explained everything, I imagine that the Grand Priest would be the person who actually eradicates an angel that disobeys their laws. If Merus were to continue and try to fight alongside mortals on the behalf of good, the Daishinkan himself would destroy Merus. Gotta be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Whis tells Merus that his time on the mortal world is now over, that he is under his supervision for now. be grateful I am not dragging you right back to the Grand Priest. They are now headed back to the Angel Realm, and I really hope that the next chapter we get the first glimpse of this great beyond, or Angel homeworld they all come from. How many angels are there? Where is it located? Well, Merus gives Goku a final goodbye and has faith that he can defeat Moro, and this is the conclusion of Chapter 55 of the Dragon Ball Super manga. Now tell me, what did you think of this chapter? Were you happy with learning that Merus is an angel in training and placed in Universe 7 by the Grand Priest? Do you think Goku is ready to take on Moro, and what do you think of Vegeta's new powers? Did Vegeta learn a technique in time to defeat him? As always, I love to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it and smash that like button. Also, please subscribe to support the channel and turn on that notification bell to keep those theories coming.